Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. Today in the podcast, we are talking about assertiveness in the coffee industry, both from a professional perspective and from a business perspective. Now, if you're a long-time listener of this podcast, you are sick to death of me talking about assertiveness. But I assure you what we're going to talk about today is adapted for 2020. We haven't really had a discussion at length about assertiveness in 2020 because we've been distracted by all the other fuckery that's happened in 2020. Pandemic, race riots, politics, all of it. So, what is assertiveness? People think that assertiveness is something actually different than what it really means. People tend to think that when you're assertive, that you are aggressive. And it means being more aggressive and standing up for yourself more. Well, part of that is correct. It is about standing up for yourself more. But assertiveness is not aggressive. If you were to have a seesaw, at one end would be aggressive behavior, at the other end would be passive behavior, and right in the center would be assertiveness. So, assertiveness is a communication strategy that respects your own rights while respecting the rights of others and having boundaries around what you will and won't accept as acceptable behavior. We have an online course that is heavily discounted so that we can get assertiveness training to as many people as possible. We hired a psychologist to give assertiveness training for a full day in Sydney to the coffee industry, the hospitality industry. We recorded it so that we could make it available for everybody. The psychologist, Dr. Jamie Berry, went through all the different kinds of intricacies into passive and aggressive behavior, as well as passive aggressive behavior, which is a doozy in the coffee industry. And then he talked about the benefits of assertiveness and assertive behavior. Now, why is it important for us to be talking about assertiveness as we come up to an election, as we come up to the end of 2020, as we get ready for 2021, etc., etc.? This is important because the landscape of the world is shifting quickly and will continue to accelerate in the way that it shifts as we get closer to the election and we get closer to heading into 2021. Still, there are no vaccines for the pandemic. More people are losing their businesses. People are in more uncertain times. And by learning how to communicate with assertiveness, you'll be able to get your needs across, but also prevent people from stepping all over you through passive behavior, their aggressive behavior, your passive behavior. And it will also stop you from being hyper aggressive in times of stress and in times of need. So, now that we've talked about why it's important, let's talk about how it could change the game for you in coffee. All right. Jobs are going to get scarce. Businesses are going to need to make decisions whether they stay open or shut. All of this is going to create environments of stress, going to create environments of that famine kind of mentality. It's going to heighten everybody's emotions. If we can all keep in mind what it is to communicate assertively, we can move straight into the idea of creative solutions rather than defensive actions. This could be the difference between how we come out of this as an industry and as individuals, or whether we end up crumbling under the strain of this. It's going to be important for you to decide how you want to approach this, and it's going to be important for all of us as an industry to take a stance as to what we want to be a part of when it is rebuilding this industry from the correction, for lack of a better term, that this pandemic has afforded us. How has assertiveness changed my life? It's a great question, because when I look at who I was before I underwent extensive assertiveness training, I look back at it with this way of so much of my life would have been different if I had have received assertiveness training as a child. But to receive it in my 40s, I'm just grateful that I didn't wait till later in life to get assertiveness training. Now, assertiveness training affords me the opportunity to understand when I'm being fucked over by other people. It allows me to hold the boundaries that I have. It also allows me to understand when I'm treating people in an unreasonable way. It affords me the opportunity to stand up to people. It affords me the opportunity to say, hey, listen, I think we need to talk about this. I'm confident that we can find a resolution to this, but we're both going to have to approach it in a way that is reasonable with a fair outcome for both of us. If we can't achieve that, this is what I believe the outcome will be. And me as a person, having those conversations shows a strength and a conviction that results in people wanting to come to the table hopeful of an outcome that works for both of us. My life is completely changed because of assertiveness. My approach to resolving the friction with James Hoffman came as a direct result of my assertiveness training. There are far too many people who are far too passive in this industry, as well as far too aggressive in this industry. Now, passive aggressiveness, I believe, is the underpinning toxicity of our industry. Passive aggressive behavior is when people are really lovely to your face and they stick daggers in your back behind your back. So I know we can all identify with that kind of behavior. We've all been treated with passive aggressive behavior. We've all acted with passive aggressive behavior, and we can get rid of it. Imagine if we were an industry that practiced assertiveness on a daily basis. Those that are in the map it forward fold are quickly learning the benefits of moving in the world with assertiveness as independent thinkers. It empowers their lives and it encourages positive outcomes that are in the direction of a win-win for everybody. And that's what I want for you and for our whole industry. So if you'd like the assertiveness training, head to mapitforward.org/webinars and check it out. If you want to take the training but can't afford the training, please contact us and we're happy to get it to you if you legitimately can't afford it. So, peace, love and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.